Coming up on The World Today. World Health Organization warns all countries face potential Omicron surge. South Africa hit by fourth COVID wave driven by new variant. Plus, immigration hardliner Mohammed to take over as Austrian leader. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Teniola Shoboale. The World Health Organization says the number of countries detecting the Omicron variant is increasing daily. The UN agency says its distribution is likely already wider than currently reported, and all nations must prepare for new surges. But scientists say it's still too early to say if the variant causes more serious illness. For a roundup of the latest developments, here's the global update. While the World Health Organization says it's still studying the transmissibility and severity of the new variant, it says makers of COVID-19 vaccines should gear up for the likelihood of needing to adjust their products to protect against the Omicron variant.
Now, it's very recommendable that vaccine manufacturers already start planning ahead and plan for the likelihood of having to adjust the vaccine, the existing vaccine. That's good. Not just to wait till the final alarm bell rings. We do not yet have information together. And we said a week ago that it will take 2-3 weeks. Now that was a week ago. So it will still take some time. And let's not rush into conclusions here. Preliminary data, and we've said that now since a while, show that there's higher transmissibility. But that's all what we basically have so far. Again, different areas, different reports have individual pieces of information, but that's, I would call it right now, an observation of that moment, of that particular area. We need all this together to make a careful assessment.
Meanwhile, the WHO says Asia-Pacific countries must prepare for a new surge in COVID-19 cases led by the new strain and remain vigilant.
COVID-19 has now spread all over the world, and we should not be surprised to see more surges in the future. As long as transmission continues, the virus can continue to mutate as the emergence of Omicron demonstrates, reminding us of the need to stay vigilant. Border controls can delay the virus coming in and buy time, but every country and every community must prepare for new surges in cases.
The new variant has been reported in at least 24 countries. Many governments have responded by tightening travel rules. Malaysia is one of the latest countries to detect its first case of the new strain in a foreign student who was quarantined after arrival from South Africa 2 weeks ago. And over in the United States, New York has found 5 cases of the new strain, becoming the 4th U.S. state to detect the variant and bringing the total number of reported infections in the country to 8. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization's chief scientist has urged people not to panic over the emergence of the Omicron coronavirus variant and says it's too early to say if COVID-19 vaccines would have to be modified to fight it. Soumya Swaminathan says the right response is to be prepared and cautious and not to panic in the face of the new variant.
How worried should we be? We need to be prepared and cautious. This is something we've been saying from the beginning of the pandemic. Not panic, because we're in a different situation today than we were at the beginning of 2020. We have tools, we know what to do, we know what works. And so this was something that we had expected, that new variants would emerge. We've been through rounds of other variants. And so it is something to worry about. Certainly, we didn't want to see another variant emerge and spread around the world at this stage of the pandemic. Certainly not what we wanted. But we're not entirely surprised, and I think we're much better prepared to handle it. Let's remember, Delta currently accounts for 99% of infections around the world, according to the GISAID, the database of whole genome sequences. This variant would have to be much more transmissible than Delta to outcompete and become the dominant variant worldwide. It is possible that it could happen, but I think it's impossible to predict. And in terms of numbers, I think we should now prepare to not let the numbers surge. That's what we should do. Knowing that this could happen, we need to put in place measures to prevent those huge surges that then overwhelm health systems.
In the meantime, South Africa's health department has officially confirmed that the country has entered its fourth wave of the pandemic, with more cases reported in 9 provinces. This comes a week after scientists in the country discovered the new Omicron variant, which is believed to have more severe consequences than the 3 previous waves. In a media briefing, the Minister of Health says the country has seen a steep rise in infections over the past week and encourages South Africans to get vaccinated and continue to follow COVID-19 safety measures.
We have moved from a total of around 2,465 new cases last Thursday when this variant was announced to yesterday's highs of 11,535 yesterday afternoon, a rise of just over 9,000 new cases per day within 7 days. Over the last 7 days, the new spike has moved into the whole of Gauteng, and it's also registering presence in all our 9 provinces, with numbers starting to rise in the Western Cape, in KZN, in Limpopo, in the Northwest, and in Mpumalanga, also with high positivity rates. Currently, only the Free State and the Northern Cape are still showing relatively low numbers and low positivity rates. We want to appeal to all South Africans that the time is now for more vigilance, to apply all our tried and tested health and safety measures, which we know very well, which our president also has emphasized on Sunday. That is the wearing of masks, hand washing, sanitizing, physical distance, avoiding crowds, and also being in areas which are well ventilated. Above all these measures, the main opportunity now, which is different from when we had the other waves, especially the first and second wave, is that we have opportunity to be vaccinated, which provides a major protection against serious illness.
British scientists studying 7 different COVID vaccines have found that Pfizer and Moderna are the most effective to use as booster jabs. The trial is the first study of how well COVID booster jabs work. All the vaccines tested raised immunity against COVID to some degree, and researchers say they are promising signs that boosters would still protect against illness and death from the Omicron variant.
So what the study showed is that if you use the vaccine, 6 of the vaccines that we studied in this trial, you get a very good immune response that involves the antibodies, which is the part of the immune system that provides direct protection now against COVID-19, and in the T cells, which seem to provide a more broad response against multiple variants and might help us protect against variants in the terms of our memory or longer-term immunity. The NHS booster programs using full-dose Pfizer or half-dose Moderna, because this study showed, like Moderna's own data in the United States, that a 3rd dose of Moderna has a lot of side effects, and you could get a good response with the half-dose. Moderna have showed that in the United States, and so JCVI in the UK, the decision was the same. Those vaccines are available to us in the UK, and they're available to some rich countries, and they provide a very strong antibody response. But actually, the study's also shown that any of the approved vaccines at the moment, and the Novavax, which might get approval soon, also provide a very significant boost compared to the baseline. And remember, at the baseline, at the beginning of the study in June, people who took part in the study were already really well protected.
And speaking of vaccines, the Egyptian government has started the first phase of clinical trials for a locally manufactured coronavirus vaccine called Covivax that it hopes will cement its position as a vaccine hub in Africa. According to the Minister of Higher Education, Khalid Ghaffar, the vaccine, which has been in production by the National Research Centre since April 2020, has proven to produce antibodies to samples taken from infected individuals. Mr. Ghaffar says the success of the trials is key to ensuring an Egyptian vaccine will be available for the country to vaccinate a population of 102 million. Egypt has received a total of 12.8 million doses of several vaccines under the COVAX sharing scheme since it began its vaccination campaign in January. Over in the United States, President Joe Biden has unveiled strict COVID-19 rules to travel rules to contain the spread of the new variant. International travelers to the U.S., including Americans, must get a COVID test within 24 hours before they depart, regardless of vaccination status. Mask requirements on planes, trains and buses will also be extended until mid-March.
Well, it kind of depends. It's going week to week here to determine what we need and what the state of affairs. We're going to learn a lot more in the next couple weeks about the lethality of this virus, about how much it spreads, about whether what we have can control it, etc. So it'll depend on those issues.
Mr. President.
Our correspondent in Washington, Maria Bird, joins us now for more. Maria, speak to us about these latest measures announced by the president and the reactions it's getting in the country.
Yes, these latest measures by the president are one that I believe is, kind of not a surprise, but I think many people are a little tired, to be quite honest. I mean, we're heading into the winter season here, and everyone knows that is a strong point for the COVID virus to spread for those who are not vaccinated, and for those who even are vaccinated. We have seen a spike even in contraction rates in the U.S., even for the vaccinated individuals. The biggest thing that's happening now is that those individuals are not having the same sort of effects as the ones that are not vaccinated. And so that's, I think, one of the major concerns. The president has obviously outlined a plan that he hopes will allow individuals to be able to potentially be protected from the spread of the virus. And obviously the new variant, the Omicron variant, is one that is of the utmost concern at this time. I think there's a real push and want to get back to normal. The holidays are in full swing in the United States. They always begin around the Thanksgiving season and don't end until around January. And so that is really, I think, where many Americans are right now, is they're looking to try to get back to normal.
Just very quickly, Mr. Biden is pushing for greater access to testing and encouraging, but not requiring all Americans to get vaccination booster shots. Give us an update very quickly on the vaccination campaign. Amid fears of this new variant, are more Americans coming out to get vaccinated?
Yes, the vaccination boosters are now available for anyone that has had the COVID-19 initial vaccine that has been fully vaccinated, the first and second shot. And so they're now saying all Americans, those obviously that took the Johnson & Johnson, are asked to get their boosters immediately, as they know that that vaccine, it's about a 3 to 5 month window on that, Moderna and Pfizer as well. So that is a major educational campaign. They're partnering with local health departments to try to get individuals vaccinated. They're having mobile trucks around cities throughout the country to try to get individuals out to clinics to even get their booster shots, and obviously to get children vaccinated, because the more children vaccinated, the likelihood that schools will not have to be closed or shut down during the winter months as it gets colder. And obviously there's travel restrictions that have been put in place. We're now, the president's looking to ensure that just a day before individuals head back to the U.S. that have traveled out of the country do have a negative COVID test. So he has a myriad of things put in place that he's outlined and plans that he's hoping will help to reduce the spread come the winter.
All right, Maria, thanks a lot for the update.
Thank you.
Still to come on the program. Nigeria celebrates National Day ceremony at the Expo 2020 in Dubai. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. After 24 hours of political turmoil, Austria's ruling People's Party has chosen interim minister Karl Nehammer to take over as leader of both party and country. Mr. Nehammer will be the party's third choice of chancellor in weeks after Sebastian Kurz stood down in October. Mr. Kurz is under investigation after he was implicated in a corruption scandal. On Thursday, he stepped down as party leader, prompted his replacement as chancellor to say he would resign too. Alexander Schlangberg said he was convinced the country should be run by the same person as the ruling party leader. Over in the United Arab Emirates, President Muhammadu Buhari has called on countries, businesses and individuals to work together to overcome challenges and make the world a better place. The president made the call during Nigeria's National Day ceremony at the Expo 2020 Dubai.
The theme of the Expo, connecting the minds and creating the future, is apt as it challenges us all to work for the future we want. I congratulate the UAE authorities and the people for making all of us in these regions so proud for the facilities in this magnificent complex. The Expo 2020, taking place in 2021, is a direct negative impact of the coronavirus pandemic, which unprecedentedly shut our world against ourselves for over 1 year. The concerted efforts by world leaders working together enabled us to limit the catastrophic consequences of this pandemic. Such level of continuing understanding and pragmatic partnerships are needed and must be reinforced to ensure that our world is a better place that addresses humanity's common challenges to guarantee sustainable development and progress for the global community.
Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari speaking there. It's day 2 of the 16th edition of the African Economic Conference being held in Cape Verde. It brings together a wide range of stakeholders, including policymakers, development institutions, the private sector, and researchers, to discuss ways to sustainably grow the continent's development funding sources. The theme for this year is financing Africa's post-COVID-19 development. Samba Bathily, a global entrepreneur, is in Cape Verde. He joins us now for more on this. Thank you so much for your time on the program. So many African economies took a big hit from COVID. What practical steps do you think can help improve economies?
The practical step that will bring to improve the economy is that we African, we need to understand that there is no future without building an African market. Because one lesson we should learn from the COVID, and we have seen that, all of us, that nobody could travel at the COVID time. There was a shortage of simple things like mask, face mask, that could be manufacture in Africa. And that's what we did. We did at ADS in Senegal. We set up a textile, a confection, where we supply masks for the government and also for some UN agency like UNICEF. So it's a question of have the willing and to do it. And the COVID shows us also that we cannot continue to go and treat ourselves outside of Africa. You know, we should come to a fact that nowadays more than ever, we need to see in every African country to build hub. You know, let's look at every African country competitive advantage, and we specialize each country to his competitive advantage. A country like Nigeria could be a country that will supply oil and other agricultural products, you know, or films, you know, for the rest of the continent, because you have a vibrant film industry with Nollywood. And a country like Cape Verde could be the country for tourism. As you can see, Cape Verde have nothing, you know, to compare with other big destinations that where Africans are going. This Cape Verde could be the Dubai and the Monaco and the other destination that we Africans going to spend money, and it will keep the job here and create the economy. The same thing can happen in education. We could choose 2 or 3 countries to make them education hub, because one thing we all know, when you have money in Africa, your children are sent to school outside of Africa, so we are exporting jobs by doing that. When we have money, we are going for treatment outside of Africa. We are exporting money. We are exporting also jobs. We buy most of our stuff from outside. You see, even the clothes that most of us are wearing are not made in Africa. So these are simple things that we need to come together, you know, and create this hub. And it could be through public and private partnership, you know, and private sector have a big role to play into that. So that's the outcome of this meeting. In the coming days, we're going to work with UNDP on this hub project to make sure business community, civil society, and government will work together to bring those hubs alive.
All right then, Mr. Samba Bathily, a lot to look forward to at this conference. Thank you so much for your thoughts on the program.
Thank you.
And that's the program today. But before we go on a programming note, a special town hall on the advocacy to create more seats for women in the national and state assemblies comes up at 7 p.m. across all the station's platforms tonight. The program replaces our political program, Politics Today. And that's it on the program. Thanks for watching. I'm Teniola Shaboale.